and shoeless, but playing well.
How do you view your dad?
Tough love. Very, very tough love, or even if it is love.
Most sports legends are remembered for trophies, records, and highlight reels. John Daly is remembered for something far more uncomfortable: fear, unease, the sense that at any moment he might do or say something that shattered golf's carefully maintained illusion of control. That reputation didn't come from rumors or exaggeration. It came from moments like the one where Daly looked a two-time U.S. Open champion dead in the eye and calmly explained that if he didn't back off, his body would be broken into 6 pieces. No raised voice, no dramatic flourish, just a warning. And decades later, Daly didn't walk it back. He doubled down, saying he still hated the man and would tell him so straight to his face, even with family standing nearby. That wasn't a lapse in judgment. That was John Daly revealing exactly who he was, and exactly why golf never knew how to handle him. Before the controversies, the suspensions, and the endless disciplinary files, Daly arrived on the professional golf scene like a thunderclap. Born in Arkansas, he didn't come through elite academies or polished junior circuits. He came through raw talent and reckless confidence. When Daly showed up, he didn't just hit the ball farther than everyone else. He shattered the mental ceiling of what golfers believed was possible. His swing looked violent, almost uncontrolled, yet the ball obeyed him in ways no one had seen before. And when he won the 1991 PGA Championship, it felt less like a victory and more like a disruption of the natural order. Daly wasn't even supposed to be there. He was the 9th alternate, called in at the last possible second. No preparation, no practice rounds, no expectations. The golf world assumed he'd show up, collect his paycheck, and disappear. Instead, he dominated. He bullied the course. He ignored pressure. He walked away with a major championship and left the establishment stunned. 4 years later, when he captured the Open Championship at St. Andrews, it removed any doubt that he was legitimate. 2 majors, 2 different continents, 2 different styles of victory. On paper, John Daly should have become one of the most celebrated figures in golf history. Instead, he became its biggest problem because Daly didn't just win. He refused to conform. He smoked. He drank. He gambled openly. He showed up overweight, unfiltered, and unapologetic. Golf, a sport obsessed with decorum and image, suddenly had a superstar who didn't care about any of it. Behind closed doors, officials started documenting everything. By the end of his career, the PGA Tour had compiled a staggering 456-page disciplinary record on him, 5 suspensions, 7 forced interventions involving counseling or rehabilitation, 21 warnings for not giving his best effort, 11 citations for conduct unbecoming a professional, 6 rounds of probation, nearly $100,000 in fines, and that's only what made it into official reports. The stories outside the paperwork were even wilder. Daly once teed off using a golf ball balanced on a beer can handed to him by Kid Rock. He hit balls over spectators' heads during exhibitions. He skipped tee times, walked off courses mid-round, and appeared at events barefoot and shirtless. He openly admitted to losing somewhere between $55 and $57 million gambling over a 15-year stretch. Golf didn't just dislike his behavior, it feared it. Because Daly was proof that greatness didn't have to look respectable. That fear boiled over early in his career, during a moment that would define his relationship with the sport forever. In 1991, at the Bell South Classic in Atlanta, the practice putting green was chaos. Nearly 150 players crowded into a small space, balls rolling everywhere. Daly was practicing when another ball repeatedly rolled into his line. At first, he knocked it back politely. Again. And again. Finally, he looked up to see who was responsible. It was Curtis Strange, a 2-time U.S. Open champion, a respected veteran, one of golf's aristocrats. According to Daly, Strange told him that rookies don't putt when veterans are putting and ordered him to move. In golf's unspoken hierarchy, that should have been the end of it. Daly didn't just refuse, he snapped. He told Strange he was a redneck from Arkansas and wasn't going anywhere. Then came the line that would echo for decades. Daly said if Strange didn't back off, he'd break his body into 6 pieces so he'd never win another U.S. Open again. Strange walked away. The practice green went silent. Word spread instantly. That feud never healed. Daly later said Curtis Strange was the only golfer he ever truly hated. Not disliked, not disagreed with. Hated, and he made it clear that time hadn't softened that feeling. To Daly, that moment wasn't about etiquette or manners. It was about class, about who golf believed belonged and who didn't. Strange represented the polished elite. Daly represented the outsider who refused to be pushed aside. That same exclusion followed Daly into one of the most painful chapters of his career, the Ryder Cup. John Daly remains the only golfer from either the United States or Europe to win 2 major championships and never be selected for the Ryder Cup. That fact alone feels almost impossible. The snub peaked in 2006. Just 2 years earlier, Daly had been voted PGA Tour Comeback Player of the Year. Many believed he'd earned his spot. Instead, Captain Tom Lehman left him off the team. Lehman's explanation was careful but devastating. He said he wanted players who kept the ball in play, chipped well, and putted consistently. Daly heard the message beneath the words. His power was a liability. His personality was a risk. His presence was unwanted. Daly didn't stay quiet. He pointed out that Lehman's team went on to suffer one of the most humiliating Ryder Cup losses in history. To Daly, it proved what he'd always suspected. Golf would rather fail with its chosen sons than succeed with someone who refused to fit the mold. Then there was Tiger Woods. Their relationship was never built on hatred, but it was always uneasy. Tiger represented control, discipline, and relentless optimization. Daly represented instinct, excess, and rebellion. They were destined to clash. That collision became public during the 2019 PGA Championship, when Daly, his body ravaged by years of abuse, received permission to use a golf cart. When asked about it, Tiger responded bluntly, saying he'd walked with a broken leg. To Woods, pain was something you pushed through. To Daly, the comment felt dismissive. His body wasn't just injured, it was breaking down. Diabetes, degenerative joints, hip issues, chronic pain that made walking unbearable. But the story didn't end there. Daly later revealed that Tiger apologized privately during a dinner. The tension faded, and when Tiger suffered his devastating car accident in 2021, Daly was one of the first people to reach out. 2 icons who took opposite paths finally understood each other through shared damage. Perhaps the most important relationship of all was with David Feherty. Where others judged Daly, Feherty understood him. Their bond began in 1990, when Daly beat Feherty by 1 stroke. After the win, Daly invited him out to celebrate. Feherty later joked that by the time he arrived, Daly had probably already spent the winner's check. That humor became the foundation of their friendship. Feherty, who battled his own demons, became Daly's fiercest defender and most honest critic. He didn't excuse Daly's behavior, he contextualized it. He explained the pain beneath the rebellion, the vulnerability behind the chaos. Through Feherty, fans began to see Daly not as a caricature, but as a deeply human figure, constantly fighting himself and the sport that never wanted him to exist. John Daly didn't just challenge golf's rules, he exposed its hypocrisy. He revealed a sport more comfortable with polished mediocrity than raw brilliance. Loved by fans, feared by officials, distrusted by elites. Daly became unforgettable because he was real. That threat on the putting green wasn't an accident. It was a declaration. And in many ways, John Daly spent the rest of his life keeping that promise.